Hello everyone, and welcome to this live stream. I'm going to talk a little bit about some guitar voicings, and some recent shorts that I've put out. Originally, I intended on the Barney Kessel intro video, I intended to kind of go over this shape, in this position, and then go over this one as well. But I ended up splitting those into two videos because of the shorts limitation on 60 seconds. But apparently they've moved to I think maybe even just starting yesterday or recently. They're beginning to roll out the 3-minute shorts, so hopefully get to check those out a little bit. So I have a little more time to spend kind of explaining and going through some things. But it's interesting, on guitar, you can actually, do this shape in really a few spots, right? So you can really even do it up here if you want. Right, and the way that the string sound will be a little bit different, because you have different string lengths and you have different string thicknesses or widths and things. So you have to decide what you're going to do. But I think I may be putting a video together for this tune. Apologize for my voice here. It's a little raspy here today, but I think I'm going to ultimately go with this one and with this kind of fingering. You might find this is kind of a stretch here, but what it does is it allows this finger to come in here. Also in this one, this is kind of an awkward fingering, but what it does is kind of allows you to really play legato, and then that third finger is available right there. So that's the reasoning on that. But feel free to adapt it and do what kind of works for you. But really nice guitar comping on that, and great intro. So and that was actually suggested on the live stream. I recently changed up the mugs a little bit. This was kind of the original design, but the new ones focus a little more on the podcast. I'm not sure that I'll do a podcast this week because of the raspy voice, but let's talk a little bit about some maybe voicings on that tune. So this first beginning part, which I would recommend playing up here in this position, because it's going to be, I think, a little bit easier to manage. Through this area than playing. But this is another playing over here. But this is another instance on the guitar where you can take these 3 notes, F sharp, G, and B, and play them over here as well. I'm not warmed up at all today. Right, so that would be another option, but for at least for my preference, I like to do it over here, and then it's also just the exact same shape over down here. Well, these are really nice voicings. What is this chord, right? Let's look at this one. So you have A minor, and it's an add 9. Okay, so just surveying through all these notes here. I'm going to keep my eye on the chat here if you want to say hello. Okay. All right, back to it. But, this is kind of cool, because if you had just kind of a plain old A minor like this, and this is kind of a common theme that I like to talk about, is relate everything to something real basic. So if you know this as A minor, or if you're familiar with the A minor bar chord, all I'm doing here is playing this open A because it's there, easy to hit, and it's good reference so you know what the bass player might be playing. And then we have just A minor triad. So if we replace the root with a 9, we get this really nice voicing that has this dissonance to it, this half step. Okay, and then, right, so we have these little kind of descending tones here. What do we end up with? This is another kind of mysterious sound in my perception of it. Right? A minor major 7, right? And what that means, if you're not familiar, is that you have a minor chord quality to it. So that's the minor aspect of the chord symbol. And then you have a major type 7. Okay, so the major refers to the 7, the minor refers to the 3rd. So you get A minor major 7. Make sure this is kind of in view for folks. A quick reminder, if you do get some value out of this, which I certainly hope you do, please hit the like and subscribe. Turn on notifications too. I am working at a video. I'm not sure exactly what direction I'm going with. I was almost thinking of doing all virtual instruments on it, but I may end up playing and recording myself playing. But as a general rule, if any of my videos, if I'm visibly in the video, then I'm playing. But if I'm completely absent from the video, then it's all virtual instruments. So yeah. But I'm thinking I might even make a note on new videos. All right, welcome to the chat, Puvendran. Welcome. Playing jazz. Yeah, I may try to play a little bit. Like I said, I'm not really particularly warmed up. Kind of dealing with a little respiratory thing, as you can probably tell. But maybe I'll do a little noodling on a tune. Playing jazz. Okay. Bhavendran asks, do I prefer playing real instrument or VST? Definitely real instrument. Yeah, absolutely. But if I go, definitely real. If I go out and play in a trio gig, or something with some live real musicians, it's just something happens. Everything kind of takes care of itself in a sense. It's just kind of, the music just kind of stays afloat, and you sort of have these little communications musically, mostly, just kind of in the playing. So that's definitely preferred, But for recording, I do use virtual instruments, mainly for instruments I don't play. So the big one being the drums. So pretty much all the drums are virtual instruments that I've programmed. So, and programming music as I wouldn't call it fun. So it's kind of tedious, but it happens. Oh, John, he loves the blues. Nice. Yeah, I did some recent videos on minor blues. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about major blues. Kind of feeling like going to G here. But you know, when you play the blues, you know, let's say you're improvising, you know, try to think. You know, one the way I like to help folks with it is to think in terms of language and how you might deliver a sentence. You know, for example, like sometimes I'll hear young people talking and they've got these words. I can't think of any at the moment, but something like there's these words like drop, which has a different context, or anyway, I'm not going to get into it because I don't speak that language, but my point is kind of linguistics. And then if you go listen to, I don't know, some professor or something, you know, they're going to talk in a certain way. Yeah, William identifies the chord G13th. So, you know, you might talk in the kind of, you know, kind of that language, you know, the language of the kind of like blues. And you can think in terms of scales for that, or you can think in terms of really a different type of language, which is like saying what the chords are, you know. You know, where you're just really describing a lot, or, you know, so there's little things that, you know, I'd really recommend, you know, having different ways of speaking, you know, and your, it's not really speaking, but like, so hopefully that comes across. Taught music theory, cool, very cool. All right, John writes in, many years ago, I tried plenty of guitar, and because I was left-handed, my teacher said no. Oh boy, well, yeah, you got to find a different teacher. But maybe they just didn't want to teach a left-hander. I don't know. I've taught left-handers, but I did find that they struggled with the notations sometimes. William says, love accidentals. Yeah, absolutely. 'Cause that's the kind of, you know, the color of it, you know. You know, like when you go from this G13, you can kind of suggest, or even use this as a chord, you know, this kind of G flat 13 for a moment. You know, that's a nice motion. Or dial it up a little bit, dial up the dissonances, and just go to a D flat 9. So yeah, you can build those into your lines and kind of, you know, stretch out and play more and more chromatic tones. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about John's comment on the left-handed. I decided to pick up left-handed guitar for a while I was teaching because I thought it gave a kind of nice angle for the for the students. And one time, one student didn't realize I was doing this. They was like, oh, why do you sound so bad? Like, why doesn't it sound good? It's like, oh, I'm just, this is not, I don't play this way. It's hard. But it also helped me to, identify with struggles of being a beginner, and give a little different perspective on it. And I'd like to start doing that again. William says, cool footprints. I'm gonna subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Yep, trying to grow, trying to reach people, and trying to kind of give a no gimmicks approach to learning music and learning guitar. It's doable. It's accessible. There's a lot of information, and the one thing I would say is it takes some persistence, but with steady work at it, I would say you can get pretty decent within a year, 2 or 3, and really pretty darn good after that and onward. So keep at it, folks out there. And I know probably some folks are pretty advanced already. So thanks for joining as well. It's always hard to know who's listening. But yeah, a little more with the left-handed. Right-handers struggle because all the cymbals are kind of upside down and backwards, or what have you. Tablature is really struggle for folks to get a hold of, but once they get it, it's okay. Chord symbols are written, in a completely different way than the kind of pattern symbols are in another. And then for left-handers, it's like you've got all that plus you're in the opposite direction, so it's a tough thing, I think. William says he took an 8 or 10 hiatus, but coming back slowly. Yeah. I played quite a few gigs with folks who took time off, 5 years, or just didn't even touch it, and then got it back together. You can think also about Pat Martino, who had pretty serious issue and had surgery, and then had to basically relearn. So it's gonna happen. Yeah, like I said, persistence is the one thing that I've seen from successful folks out there. Okay, we've got Daniel. Welcome. Brazil. Awesome. Welcome. William says he's a lefty but can only play right hand. Yeah, I've come across folks, that, and occasionally you'll meet folks who right-handed, throw left-handed in baseball, what have you. One of my teachers on the upright bass, when I was young, he played regular right hand, and he was left-handed, so I wrote with his left hand. Yeah, thanks, John, for the encouraging words. Lot of variations on the blues, but the main thing get a hold of are really kind of the 1, the 4, and the 5. So pretty much everything's kind of built on that. And then oftentimes in more like a jazz blues, they put a 2 in front of the 5, and maybe do a little more of some circle of fifths type things like I was doing a little bit earlier. Right, so basic blues, you do like 1 for a measure, 4 for a measure, back to the 1, right? And like I mentioned, you can dial in maybe a little more dissonance as you go to the 4 chord. The 4 chord could go diminished, so you hear this a lot. Sharp 4, diminished 7. And then kind of back to the 1. And then it feels, good, I think, to go to 1, 4, 3, 6, 2, and then to the 5, and then back to the 1, of course, and maybe do a turnaround from there. I did a little shorts video on some comping bassline things. Let me get back to the chat here a little bit. And that goes for everybody. Yeah, very true. Yeah, persistence. Yeah, absolutely. Just gotta keep at it. Pick it up and enjoy it. That's what I would say. Try to make some gains, but got to play a little bit too. Have fun on it. But just pick that guitar up every day. I was watching something about the valley of with progress. I was watching this YouTube video. I think it was like Escape Ordinary or something. It was the channel, but they do like summations on books and stuff, and some really interesting things about learning. And I think they even use guitar as an example in this. But you have this curve, and you want your progress to go like a straight line, but oftentimes that the progress is like this, and then it kind of ramps up like that, right? And so where those two intersect is kind of where you kind of get to a level where maybe you're like pretty happy with what you're doing. So I think it was called the Valley of Disappointment. Is that area in between where you're just trying to get it to a certain level. So John says he had the great honor of seeing and meeting B.B. King. Wow. Yeah, that's really very cool. That's got a Buddy Guy type feel to it. Yeah, so I did get to see Buddy Guy perform. It was very, very good. Have not ever seen B.B. King other than videos that I've watched. That's really cool. Seems like a really fabulous individual and musician, as far as I know. So one thing you can do to really kind of outline some of these changes, if you're improvising single lines, is to know, well, some of the kind of key signatures. I like to focus on the key signatures in the circle of fifths. So G7, no sharps, no flats. C7, you're gonna have 1 flat. B flat. And then the 5 chord, 1 sharp. So G is actually a pretty good spot to work at, and work at the circle of fifths, and you can kind of see that. But really any spot. Some kind of cool things that you can do, of course, arpeggios are going to be really helpful. One thing I would say about if you're building lines with arpeggios is see if you can connect to something that sounds maybe melodic in a way. So let's say we're going G7. So I'm just selecting 4 notes of G7, and then instead of regrouping, and just, starting there, which is perfectly fine, but kind of my point is, right, you can play, find a note in the next arpeggio that is a half step or whole step, either higher or lower, and then see if you can connect your lines like that, right? So, or so I went and I found a note higher, right, or lower, right, and just try that throughout the night, right? That way you can say, your thing on the lines and stuff like that. Well, thanks everybody for joining me. I'm going to hang here for a couple more minutes. I'd like to remind folks to like and subscribe. Turn on notifications. I'll be streaming Wednesdays and Sundays at 10:30, schedule permitting and all that. So I kind of hung in there on it today. Not feeling super great, a little under the weather, but I'm glad I did. Got to meet some new folks, and thanks so much for joining. Just kind of reviewing things a little bit here. Yep, the VSTs are mainly for just building backing tracks for videos. And I'm going to incorporate those into live streams. That's just getting some technical things worked out. And Daniel from Brazil, thanks so much for joining in. I am a big fan of the Brazilian musical traditions and Baden Powell and Antonio Carlos Jobim and all that. Thanks for joining in. So I do have some materials on that, and I'm glad you're learning a lot from the channel. All right, well, I'm going to hang for a couple minutes here, and I will see you all in the next one. Please join me on Sunday, 10:30. I've been streaming the mobile and the desktop, so 2 different streams there. Thanks, everyone, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a great practice session.